Today we're going to have a look at the inside of the Arvor 625 Sportsfish. Hi, I'm Matt Hodson of John Crawford Marine, Queensland's Arvor distributor. You may have seen our last review of the 625 Sportsfish on water. Well, let's have a look at the inside of the boat today. The Arvor 625 Sportsfish is the new model in the range, and the design team have done an amazing job in marrying together both family and use for fishing. I know it's a common term, it's an all-rounder and it's perfect at everything. There's no such thing. But really, 80% of what you want to do out in a 6-metre boat, I think Arvor has nailed it right on their head. Most 6-metre sports fishing boats are going to boast a wide array of fishing features. We'll just go through what the Arvor has to offer. Tow rails in the cockpit if offshore, padded coamings for your thighs, a bait board, saltwater deck wash, walk-through transoms, overhead shade and sun awnings, lock-up wheelhouse, and the self-draining decks. Or all these in design characteristics that basically give the boat the flexibility of Saturday being the sports fishing boat, and yet on Sunday having the family aboard for a lovely day lazing around and having a swim. Comforts for social boating are numerous. This particular boat's been fitted with 2 large swim platforms, which is a great spot when you're seated to put your mask and your flippers on. And the other thing that I really like with Arvor is the telescopic 4-rung ladder. It really has a nice deep reach. For those people that might not be as fit and agile, a 4-rung ladder will make it easier to get back onto the boat. The cockpit cushions are all of a high quality vinyl, water resistant. So at the end of the day, if you're mooring the boat or the boat's being left out in the weather at your pontoon or dry rack storage, the cushions are easily removable. Wipe them down and you can put them away in the wheelhouse. The other thing too with those cushions, if you're fishing and you might not want the cushions getting bait and whatnot on it, again, easily removable and easily kept clean. The Arvor 625 also allows overnighting. It has a very large upholstered V berth, which would see 2 adults very comfortably sleep for the night. There's plenty of storage inside the wheelhouse, both either side of the driver and passenger seat and underneath the bunk cushions. There's room for a chemical toilet on board the boat, and there's also underfloor storage, so for seldom used items, plenty of room for that gear, first aid kits, spare anchors, fenders, mooring lines and the like. This is the bedding layout with the infill cushions in place. Definitely room for 2, and I think quite easily room for 3. The steering position in the Arvor is very comfortable and clever design. So hydraulic steering for ease of left and right, Mercury active trim, fusion stereo, which also talks to the GPS plotter sounder from Simrad, the Mercury Smartcraft gauges, a complement of switching right down to the get out of my way, cup holders up on the dash of the boat as well, and we've even got a mobile phone charger, a USB port here as well as standard. John Crawford Marine's fitted a VHF radio up in the overview here. Easy to see, easy to grab the mic. We've got 2 side opening windows, we've got a massive overhead roof hatch, and then also block out curtains. So for privacy, or if I'm mooring the boat has all of the curtains that we can close around the boat. The other thing that I really like with the wheelhouse of the Arvor is the forward-facing windscreen. It basically brings the roof further over the helm, which means your hands and your electronics aren't always in the sun. So rather than having a rake-back windscreen where the roof's basically right above your forehead, this all goes forward, and it just gives you so much more volume in here for things like electronics and overhead ventilation, and also things like your VHF radio, rear vision mirror, smoke detector and the like. Lighting is important when overnighting, but not too bright of course. But the Arvor has the touch screen lamps up in the ceiling of the wheelhouse. We've got a cockpit floodlight to light up out the back, and we've also naturally got compliant navigation lights and an anchor light. There is a downside to a lock-up wheelhouse, is that when it's being stored, if there's any residual moisture in the wheelhouse area, it can become quite hot and stuffy and sometimes get that yucky, moist smell, I suppose, to the boat. Arvor's overcome that now. We don't use carpets in the boat regardless of what they say they're made of, but they've got the ventilation hatches in the roof that allows the hot air and the moist air to get out, and then during night, cooler air to come back in. Keeps the wheelhouse nice and clean and must-free. Underneath the cockpit is a large storage hold whereby the tabletop and the table leg is stored. Access to your plumbing is quite easy, as well as your fuel tank and your batteries. On the port side of the boat, we've got a bait board fitted, deck wash and also this large underfloor fish well. Visibility is brilliant on these boats. The whole wheelhouse basically is just one big wraparound screen. One thing I do with our Arvor boat, I do recommend putting a rear vision mirror in, just so that when you're piloting and skippering, you can just quick glance up and see what's coming up behind you and make sure your fishing gear is all stowed well. The boats come with an option with electric anchor winch, the ability to press a button and deploy a quality Delta plow anchor and then bring it back up. Certainly works well. We do note that some of our other brands are using really inferior lightweight aluminium sand anchors. Be careful with these, they really don't hold well in a strong current, especially in behind the Tangraluma wrecks. One thing I do like with all of the boats is you've got to have access to the whole rig, and you need to get to know your boat. And one of the things that Arvor does, the owner's manual has a comprehensive overview of your boat. So your wiring, your plumbing, every component on the boat is noted. And of course the brand is owned by the Brunswick Group, who own some of the big guys like Sea Ray and Bayliner, and they own Mercury Outboards. Quality assurance is very high. But what we do like is down the track, if an item does break or perish, you can ring Arvor Australia and get that part noted.